Hello everyone. Let us see a quick recap of structure of atoms. This is chapter 4 in your science. So let us know more about the subatomic particles before knowing the structure of atoms. So John Dalton said that atoms are indivisible particles, but we all know that atom contains some particles inside which are charged particles. So this was proved by many scientists through their experiments. So let us see the three subatomic particles. The first one is protons, neutrons and electrons. Protons are positively charged, neutrons does not have charge, and electrons have negative charge. So let us see who discovered the three subatomic particles. First one is Joseph John Thomson, J.J. Thomson, found the first subatomic particles which is negatively charged through his discharge tube experiment, and that subatomic particle is called as electrons. And next one, the proton, which is positively charged, was discovered by Goldstein. And neutron, which does not have any charge but it has a mass equal to the mass of proton. So let us know what is the mass of protons, what is the mass of neutrons, what is the mass of electron. So mass of a single proton is approximately 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 24 gram, and which is same as the mass of neutron, which is also 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 24. Now if you check the mass of electron, it is 9.11 into 10 to the power minus 28 gram, which is actually negligible mass. So when you consider the mass of an atom, the mass of protons and the mass of neutron is only considered, and mass of electron is not considered in the in calculating the atomic mass. Now the first one is J.J. Thomson. He proposed the structure of an atom, which is called as Thomson's atomic model, which is also called as watermelon model, or it is also called as Christmas pudding model. If you just check the watermelon, you can see the red color pulp and the seeds. Just check this. So atom is spherical in shape. The red pulp is equivalent to the protons, and the seeds, that is a black seeds, is equivalent to the electron. So what Thomson said is, he proposed a postulate which is saying that atom is spherical in shape and it has positive charge completely filled and electrons are embedded in that. You can just refer or you can just imagine the watermelon red pulp I've showed in the previous slide. And one important point he said is, the negative and the positive charges are equal in magnitude, so the atom as a whole is electrically neutral. Now let us see what this point clearly tells. See, if you just check the negative and positive charges. So if an atom has one electron and if an atom has one proton, so what will be the charge of the atom? You know that you will just cancel this and you will write it as 0, correct? So he clearly tells that the number of electrons and the number of protons in an atom is equal. That is why the atom is electrically neutral. So this point, the second point, is very, very important. Like, he is a scientist who said that atom is neutral, so the number of electrons and the number of protons will be equal in an atom. So now let us see the limitations. So he gave a model of an atom like sphere, spherical in shape, and positive charges are spread and electrons are embodied. Actually, what is the drawback is, many scientists were performing a lot of experiments at that time, and that experiments had a questions which is not answered by Thomson's model of atom. Though he gave one important point that atom is electrically neutral, only that point is taken into consideration. the other model, that is a spherical model of an atom or watermelon model of an atom, is not considered correct. So the next scientist is Rutherford. He performed the experiment, that is alpha particle scattering experiment, and from the observations he gave some interpretations which later he postulated as nuclear model of an atom. So let us see now. See, this is the beam of alpha particles. See, alpha particles are positively charged and it is nothing but helium particles. So he just kept the helium particles and he made the helium particles to hit the gold foil. Why gold foil? In the sense because gold is the most ductile and malleable metal, and this gold, he want a very thin sheet of metal so that the alpha particles should pass through. He thought that all the alpha particles will directly pass through without making any deviation in the angle, but he gave 3 observations. He saw 3 observations in the experiment, that is, when the alpha particles is made to hit the gold foil, one is directly passing through without any deflection. So the first interpretation is without any deflection, and the second interpretation is some alpha particles are deflected in the very small angle. So you can see there is a change in the path. So some particles are deflected in a very minute angle. And the third one, you can see the third one is, first observation is directly passing through, second is mild deviation in the angle, and the third is completely hitting and bouncing back. So these are the 3 observations. So from these 3 observations he gave 3 interpretation. So undeflected, like this, directly passing through, the undeflected one, he says that the atom has lot of empty spaces because it is directly passing through. If it is empty only, it can pass through. So undeflected alpha particle says that there is lot of empty spaces in the atom, and there is a slight deviation in the angle. So this says that the nucleus is positively charged as the alpha particle is also positively charged. So one ray, if it hits the positive, this is also positive ray, if it hits the positive particles, there is some deviation. So that positively charged particles are there in a very, very small space. Next, the bouncing back. So what does it says? It travels completely back from the foil. It says that the nucleus carries most of the atom's mass. See, if it's heavy only, it will come back. So this ray, if it is going to, this alpha particle, if it is going to hit the heavy object, it is bouncing back. So nucleus is very small and nucleus is heavy. So these are the 3 observations and 3 interpretations. From this, he gave the model of an atom. So let us see what is that postulate is. So Rutherford's model of an atom is also called as nuclear model of an atom because he is the first scientist to speak about nucleus of an atom. So there is a positively charged center in the atom called nucleus, and all the mass of an atom resides in the nucleus. If you just recall the first slide, that is a subatomic particle slide, I said the mass of electron is negligible. When we are calculating the atomic mass, we will consider only the protons and neutrons. So all the mass of an atom is there in the nucleus, and the electrons revolve around the nucleus in the circular path. The size of the nucleus is very, very small when compared to size of an atom. This we all know that because atom as such is the smallest one, but inside the atom there is a small center, so that will be even more tiny than the size of the atom. So now let us move to the drawback of Rutherford's model. Though Rutherford have done a lot of experiment and he gave a structure of atom with the nucleus, he said that the negatively charged electron are revolving around the nucleus, and at one point of time it will lose energy and finally fall into the nucleus. If this happens, the atom is not stable. Actually, the atoms are stable. Imagine if this happens, if you're keeping a pen or if you're keeping a tumbler full of water, and if you go out and come back after 1 day or 2 day, you cannot see the tumbler, because tumbler is also made up of atom. Everything in the universe is made up of atom. So atoms are stable. He said that atoms are not stable. So stability of the atom is not said by him. So if you check this, actually this is not happening. Why? When the object rotates in the circular motion, it loses energy in a sense. See, imagine you're just moving around the temple. If you just move for 9 times or 108 times, what will happen? At one point of time, you will lose energy and sit and relax. The same way, any object which is moving in the circular path will have acceleration, and because of that, it loses energy, and eventually it will fall into nucleus. Is the main consideration or main postulate that is considered as a drawback. So these are the third scientist who rectified the Bohr's model of atom. That is, he said that is Rutherford said that electrons revolve around the nucleus and finally fall into nucleus, but actually the electrons are revolving around the nucleus in the circular orbit, discrete orbit, special energy level. So orbit is also called as energy shells or energy levels. So there are certain orbits that is only allowed in the model of an atom. So he gave this is the nucleus. So near the nucleus it has a first shell. The first shell is named as K, and the second shell is named as L and M, and it goes on. So the first shell, quantum number n is given as 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the first shell will be near the nucleus and it is called as K shell. So only certain energy levels are given. See, if the electrons are revolving around in a special orbit, it will never fall into nucleus. So Niels Bohr's postulate, only certain special orbits are allowed in the discrete orbits of electrons are allowed in the atoms. And while revolving in the discrete orbit, the electrons do not radiate energy. So this is what is given by Niels Bohr. So we have seen 3 model of an atom: Thomson's model, Rutherford's model and Bohr's model. So this is the end of part 1 recap. Let us continue the remaining part of the lesson in the second recap part.